All right, I want to talk about the biggest leak affecting good players, and goods in quotes, basically because determining a good player in poker is a little bit of a difficult thing in my opinion. But I mean, it deals with profits, your knowledge of the game. It's hard, but basically, players that are knowledgeable about the game, players that usually come from the online realm and they understand, three bet, four bet. They're well versed in kind of ABC fundamental play. The kind of player that's probably profitable at like 100 NL or maybe even 200 NL, like pretty solid poker players. And I get a lot of them that come in here for private lessons, and they're trying to beat the games around the city. So like 5-10 or even 2-5, or they're struggling with 1-2 or 2-5 games. And like they sit down here and they're looking for me to teach them something that they haven't heard before. And we come from the same kind of backgrounds. I used to be an online player. I'm probably one of the few people that has an equal amount of online and live experience, at least coming up. I wasn't just solely online. But we came from the same background, and they're looking for some sort of magic thing that I'm going to teach them, and it's not. And usually the biggest leak is this. They instill a thought process that they have into unknown opponents. So they assume that because they know it's not right to limp in with aces under the gun on a 10. I'm sorry. Let me give you a better example. They know that it's wrong to raise king queen under the gun on a full ring table. All right, king queen has no value there. They know, they'd probably just muck that hand or fold that hand. So they think that other players know that, or they say things like, "I would never call that river," and all of a sudden they try to make a bluff, and it doesn't work, and they don't understand why. It's because they're instilling a thought process that they have into opponents. And most of your opponents at 1-2 and 2-5 in some of these slower games, they're not thinking about the game the way you are. They're not an online player. They haven't been exposed to thousands of hands. They don't know methodologies like 3-bet, 4-bet, 5-bet shove ranges. They're not taking into consideration of range. None of that. They don't understand any of those things. So it's very dangerous when you try to make moves predicated on the fact that they know what you know. It's like, leveling, as Clancy talks about. Like, it's like leveling all the way up to here or all the way down to here, and they're not even thinking along those lines. It's very, very, very dangerous. And that's why some of the ways to actually beat this game, like I sit down with these people and they're like, what should I do? Blah, blah. I was like, you should just play fundamental poker. Play ABC poker. Just extract value. That's all you need to do. These games are very, very easy to beat. It may be boring. It may not be interesting. But, sitting at a 2-5 table with a bunch of dumbasses and extracting value is not a hard thing to do. I mean, like, raise or fold, bet 70% of the pot, and just hope that they call. It's so simple it sucks almost. But it's the same leak I see over and over and over again. And what they basically do is they try to justify, because they're a better player or because they're an advantage player, they'll open their hand range. And they'll open their hand range and they'll play the game assuming that everybody else is thinking along the same lines they are. And that is so, so, so wrong. The first thing you should do, you play against different players. You play differently against different players, of course. But what you do is, spend a couple 30, 40 minutes trying to figure out who's a thinking player and who's not. You can see it. It's usually very, very evident. The terminology they say, the things that they do, the way they handle the chips, the things that they talk about. It's kind of obvious. I mean, somebody yells out like, I keep getting 3-betted today by this fucking guy. I'm assuming that they're an online player and they know somewhat about something. I mean, those are the things that I kind of look for. But most of the time, I don't even try to make moves against these players because you can't. They'll call you down so often. They don't understand the things that you understand. So don't try to push them into them. Don't try to put a thought process that you have into them. I can't stress that enough. It's helped so many people. I've taught so many people that. Just assume they're all idiots. You should basically assume everybody's an idiot until shown otherwise. That's how I treat poker. Everybody's idiots until proven smart. Instead of innocent until proven guilty, they're all idiots. Because most of the time they are. The poker has gotten so big that most of the players are terrible, to be honest with you. At the 1, 2, 2, 5 level, terrible. They're bad, bad, bad players. So you can't really assume that they're good, or you assume that they know about the game the same way you do. So be very, very, very careful. That I promise. If you stop doing that, it will significantly, significantly help you.